Welcome to another episode of Undercard Heroes. My name is Francisco.
And I'm Heather.
And today we've got a special UFC fight card to talk about. Derrick Lewis versus Talison Terara. Now, I'm not sure how you feel about this one, but I think that the UFC has built a fight card with the sole intention of showing us knockouts and finishes. I think this is going to be a fantastic card, and I can't wait to get into it.
So tell us about this first fight.
First fight I want to talk about is Junior Tafa versus Tuco Tacos. Now, when this fight first got announced, Junior Tafa was the underdog in this fight. The money line has since moved. He's now the favorite to win this fight. But to be honest, neither one of them has a great UFC record. Junior Tafa is 2-3, 2 wins, 3 losses. And Tuco Tacos is 0-2. 0-3 if you count his loss to Zhang Mingyang here in the UFC. And, I just think that Junior Tafa is going to get the win here in this fight.
Now, you mentioned there were going to be a lot of knockouts. Is this one of them?
Yes, I think that this fight was set up specifically to end in a knockout, and I think that's going to come from Junior Tafa.
And why is that? And do you think that there's a way that Tacos could pull it off and win?
Junior Tafa's 2 wins in the UFC have both been by knockout. This guy is not going to take you to the ground. He doesn't have the cardio to go the distance. If he wins, it's going to be by knockout. And that's really going to be Tacos' key to victory here. If Tacos pulls out the win, it's because he outlasted him cardio-wise. He dragged it to the ground. And he made it a little bit rough on Tafa cardio-wise. Honestly, I think, this could play out very similar to the fight that Junior Tafa had, his most recent win over Sean Sheriff. That one, he was winning. Sheriff took him to the ground. Ultimately, he almost got the finish over Junior Tafa. Junior Tafa had to come back and win. But you saw he had horrible cardio and, could end in a similar fashion. But ultimately, I think Tafa gets a knockout.
Wow, is there anything else you want to mention about this fight?
Yeah, this fight, so Junior Tafa had a fight against Vtor Walker, who's also on this card, that ended in controversy. Vtor Walker had him in a heel hook, and they spun. Junior Tafa yelled, and he didn't tap, but the ref called the fight, said that Vtor Walker won. So I could see Junior Tafa getting a knockout here. Maybe Vtor Walker also gets a win, and then they set that matchup again. Maybe he calls him out. So possibility for that to happen here.
That would be fun to see. Now, it sounds like you have some pretty strong feelings about the next fight.
Yes, this next fight, Vitor Petrino versus Austin Lane. This one, I don't think it's worth putting into the bet, but I'm going to mention it anyways because I said that this card seems to have been built with the sole purpose of showing us finishes, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think that Austin Lane, Dewan Lane, whatever his name is now, is awful, and I think that he is going to get knocked out in this. He's been knocked out 3 times in the UFC. He had 1 win on the Contender Series, and then his next win after that, instead of making him look good, it just made the other guy look worse. And so I think the UFC saw that win. That was over Robelis de Spain. I think the UFC saw that win and said, whoa, you're so bad that you lost to Austin Lane. And then they immediately cut Robelis de Spain. So I think that without question, Vitor Petrino gets the win in this. I think they're setting it up for Vitor Petrino to get the knockout here. And it's not even worth putting into the bet, but I'm just going to say Vitor Petrino by KO over Austin Lane.
Okay, I'm noticing a pattern here. Is this going to be another one of your KOs?
Yes, I think this is going to end in KO. I'm most excited about this one, second most to the main event, and that's Calvin Kattar versus Steve Garcia. This is your classic veteran versus up-and-coming contender. You've got Calvin Kattar as the veteran, 37 years old. He's on a 4-fight losing streak, and he just hasn't looked the same since his loss to Max Holloway. Max Holloway hit him with over 400 strikes, and he hasn't improved since then. Steve Garcia, on the other hand, is on a 5-fight win streak. all 5 of those by KO. One of them a KO win over Chase Hooper, who I also think is an up-and-coming prospect here in this division. And I just think that Steve Garcia is going to come out swinging. He can be a little reckless with his striking, but he's really going to come out, and I think he's going to try and get a KO win over Calvin Kattar, which would be huge for him. That would be a massive, massive win for Steve Garcia, and it would be a real nail in the coffin for Calvin Kattar. Some stats to look at for this one: Calvin Kattar absorbs almost 7 significant strikes per minute, and he only deals out a little over 4.5.
Oh my gosh.
So not great when you've got a striking differential like that, when you're taking in more than you're giving. Steve Garcia, on the other hand, he absorbs 2 significant strikes per minute, and he deals out about 5. So
whoa. Big difference, yeah.
Yeah, huge difference here in the striking differential there. So I'm going to give this one to Steve Garcia. Definitely going to get the win here, and I think he could get KO finish over Calvin Kattar.
Okay, can't wait to see. Okay, let me guess. For this one, another KO.
No. This one, I actually think, still a finish, but not a KO. Stephen Thompson versus Gabriel Bonfim. This one, they could not have picked a worse matchup for Stephen Thompson. Stephen Thompson, we know exactly what we're going to get with him. He's a stand-up fighter. He's got a karate base. He's going to try and stand and strike with Gabriel Bonfim, and he's just not going to let him. Bonfin's going to take this one to the ground. Ultimately, I think he's going to get the submission win here. Stephen Thompson is he's on a 2-fight losing streak. He's 42 years old. This could be his last fight in the UFC. I really hope that it's not, because I have a better last fight in mind for him. But Gabriel Bonfin, 4 of his last 5 wins have been by submission. He's got an almost 100% finish rate. 16 out of 18 fights that he's been in have ended in a finish. He's got 1 loss and 1 decision win. All of his other wins have been, he's finished his opponent. So I think that he gets the win here over Stephen Thompson. I think that he's a fantastic contender here in this division. I think he's a fantastic prospect in this division. And I think that he gets the win here, submission win over Stephen Thompson.
Interesting. And you mentioned that you have a better fight in mind for Stephen Thompson's last fight. What is that?
Yes, I would love to see Stephen Thompson fight Michael Venom Page for his last fight in the UFC. Let's put Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Michael Venom Page, last fight in the UFC for Stephen Thompson. I think that would be fantastic. Both guys are going to keep it standing, and that's exactly what I want to see for Stephen Thompson's last fight.
Okay, so for this last one, KO?
Absolutely KO. If you were the UFC and you were going to structure a fight card around KOs, who better to put as your main event, your headliner for this card, than the king of KOs himself, Derrick Lewis. So for this main event, Derrick Lewis versus Talison Teixeira, this will absolutely end in a KO finish. Talison Teixeira, all of his wins, first round finishes, most of them by KO. He's got 1 submission in there. And Derrick Lewis, on the other hand, no gas tank, all KO power. He's going to come out. He's going to try and knock out Talison Teixeira. Talison Teixeira is going to try and knock him out. Ultimately, I think that, this is for sure ending in a KO, but I'm going to go with Derrick Lewis to win this one. It may be a little too early for Talison Teixeira to go against someone like Derrick Lewis. So I'm going to say Derrick Lewis wins this one by KO. And interestingly, if you listen to what Derrick Lewis said, he had an interview with Ariel Helwani where he said, now, Derrick Lewis is a huge jokester, likes to make jokes, said the UFC is fixed, that it's scripted, and that they want him to win in the second round by a KO finish. So, I think he's obviously joking. But I'm going to go ahead and bet Derrick Lewis to win by KO.
Well, it definitely sounds like a fun fight to watch for sure. I can't wait for that one.
Thank you for watching another episode of Undercard Heroes.
So what do you think about Francisco's picks? Is there anything you missed? Is there anything you disagree with? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Thanks, everyone.